Hare Krishna, here I am. You may have noticed I'm outside in New Brajadam, and if you hear a little background noise, that's harvester combines over in the adjoining fields, our neighbors' fields. They're harvesting their wheat. But still, it's such nice weather, I thought I'd come out. And I'm going to finish the 9th chapter today by going over 2 verses. And these verses are, again, practical activities of bhakti yoga that all viewers can follow. And of course, chapter 9 is the most confidential knowledge because this is the middle of the Bhagavad Gita. So if you have something secret, you put it right in the middle. And this is the most secret, the most confidential, the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, in the 26th verse, Krishna says the following: Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya priyachati tadaham bhaktyuparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. He says, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Here, Krishna is talking about the practical service, bhakti, that we can render to him on a daily basis. How do we do that? Well, he is talking about particularly altar worship. Now, altars are common in all religions, and it's a sacred place where you place a sacred object of reverence, worship. It may be a picture, it may be a book, it may be a deity, a sacred statue. All of these, of course, are deities in themselves. In Bhakti Yoga, the deity worship or the divine form of the Lord as it's manifest, either two-dimensional form in a photograph or painting, or three-dimension in the form of a sacred statue, which may be made out of marble or wood or metals. And that becomes the cynosure of the home. It's the place where, for instance, in the morning when the practitioner wants to or sits down to chant Hare Krishna, to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, then he sits before the altar. She sits, the family sits. It's the place where, when we light a stick of incense, we offer that incense to the picture. You didn't see my hand. The offering goes like this, and then that's how we make aromatic our home, by offering at the altar. And the altar is in a prominent, if not the most prominent place in the home. Just like, for instance, the television is in the living room, now it becomes the altar that's in the living room, and there's no television. Now Krishna says that when you have this altar, then offer me with love, offer with devotion. And this we've spoken of before. It's from the heart. It's coming from the heart. So a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water. So on an altar, one man may therefore place a cup of water, or cut up an apple, orange, a piece of fruit, and offer, place a flower, and these things then become an offering to the deity of the altar. It becomes a practical act of devotion. So it's done with love and devotion, and this is what is called an offering. We make an offering. Now this becomes very relevant when on a daily basis, or more than once a day, but multiple times during the day, we eat. So whoever is preparing the meal, whether it be the husband, the wife, the children, and of course this means a vegetarian meal, then everything is placed on a separate plate, and that separate plate is placed before the altar. Before we eat, we offer to the deity. We give thanks for everything that we've received. I've spoken about this before, and we make this offering. So isn't this nice? This is, people ask, well, all right, what are the practical acts of bhakti? This is very practical because we are eating. So everything that we eat, we offer. And what about that? Well, the incense isn't mentioned here, but I'm mentioning. And the leaf here refers to a particular type of basil leaf, tulsi leaf, that's offered on the altar. May not be so relevant to all viewers, but in the morning when we rise, before we, for instance, sit down in order to chant Hare Krishna, then we offer a stick of incense, offer a flower, and then sit down. Again, an offering of love. How many times a day? As many times as you want. You can always make that offering. And this increases, not only is it meant to be made with love, but it also increases our love. So very practical aspect of bhakti. And now we go to verse 34. And this is the verse that's repeated in the Bhagavad Gita. It's repeated in the 18th chapter, not verbatim, the last line is different, but here the first two lines are what are going to be very relevant for us. Krishna says, Manmanamava, Madbhakto, Madhyajimam, Namaskuru, Mami Vaishaishi, Yuktaivam, Atmanam Matparayana. Remember, he's completing and closing the chapter. He says, engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So we're emphasizing the first two lines. He says, engage your mind always in thinking of me. We're always thinking of so many things. But now here Krishna says, think of me. How do we think of Krishna? Okay, here's a practical example. Here's a Bhagavad Gita. I hope you have a Bhagavad Gita at home. And in this Bhagavad Gita are verses, and the verses have commentaries or purports. Every day, you just read one verse, like we're doing now. You read the commentary, the purport by Prabhupada, and that becomes the thought of the day. There's so many thoughts of the day, so many books for thoughts of the day, and most of those thoughts are nonsense. Here is thoughts about the absolute truth from the Supreme. So this becomes a thought of the day. Always engage your mind in thinking of me. And of course, there's so many other books about Krishna, and when we read them, the tendency is to think of him. Think of what we've read. Become my devotee. In other words, take to the practice of bhakti yoga. Take it seriously. Make it regular practice. Now I've mentioned a few things. Chant every day. Offer a stick of incense and a flower every day. Offer you food. This is what is called becoming a devotee. And offer obeisances. Now this is a sort of type of respect that's there in every faith. People are meant to show respect to the Supreme, and of course they're meant to show respect to each other. That's something that's really missing in the world that we live in today. How do we offer respect? Well, the way that we offer respect is we kneel down and touch our forehead to the ground. For instance, in Christianity, people bow their heads, or they may, for instance, kiss the Pope's hand. That's one form. In Islam, they also bow down in the same way from their knees. They bow and touch their head. So this is called offering obeisances. Yes, you have to humble yourself to do that. That's part of accepting that there is a supreme and I'm very little and I'm going to do something about it by showing respect for everything that I'm receiving. And worship me. So the worship is what we were talking about before in terms of the offering a leaf, a flower, a fruit, water. 4 things. Think of me, become my devotee, bow down before me, and worship me. Offer a leaf, flower, fruit, water. Krishna is really giving us very practical ways how to practice bhakti. What do these things have to do with what we're experiencing inside? Well, whatever bhakti you have, whatever love or emotion you have, you make an offering with that. But by doing these things, they also awaken the devotion that's within everyone's heart. Hare Krishna.